So this is the Sidewinder Artillery X1, and it's been sitting here inoperable for the last 9 months. Why? As you can see, it no longer has a working extruder on it, and the ribbon cables are also fried. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to replace the extruder and the cables. What was taking place is that this machine wouldn't heat up and gave me this error code. At first, I thought it was a thermistor, but it turned out to be a lot more. As you recall in my initial video, where many of you remarked on the amazing disco lights, I mentioned that these ribbon cables were going to be an issue. They are junk. These particular ones burn up very quickly. I've replaced them 4 times already prior to this operation. As you can see, the connections start to become too hot and burn up. Anyway, I just decided to replace the entire extruder, get a new circuit board to attach to the extruder, and of course, another set of cables. Once the Amazon driver carefully dropped off my items and I thanked him for his hard work, it was time for me now to get to work. The first step was to disconnect the ribbon cable from the extruder so I could see exactly how messed up they are. I want to show you this circuit board because when I took the machine apart, it's hard to tell what the actual problem is. You can see how everything just quickly attaches to this circuit board, which makes things super easy to replace. However, when you get a better look at this circuit board, you could see this thing was a fire hazard, big time. This board is burned up and melted. The plastic is brown and starting to melt all around it. It's from some serious overheating and shorting out. This is just so ridiculously dangerous. So I examined all the wires at the bottom to see if maybe something was miswired or if there was a crossed wire, anything. However, everything was wired and connected perfectly. The cable management was well done. The main board looks super clean and doesn't have any indications of a short. Even the wires connected to the ribbon cable attachment look fine. But the actual ribbon cable connectors look like they have been worn out on one end. The other end looks like something is causing it to draw too much power. So here's the new extruder assembly next to the old one. Even though it's a direct replacement, there are a couple small changes between the two units. If you look here at the old one, you can see the heatsink. It's a small, simple square piece of metal with a fan attached. However, the newer version is much more sculpted to match the fan assembly. You can also see the circuit board attached is a different color. So I was curious why that might be. The new one that is attached is black, but the old one is green. I did order another replacement board just in case this board also burns out. It also came with an extra ribbon cable. The one on the right is the old one, and the one on the left is the new one that I purchased separately. It looks like the soldering on the old one is done correctly, and nothing seems strange on the back side. However, when you flip it over, you can see the old one is really burned up. The right side has the burnt brown colored plastic, and it's clearly visible that it's been overheating. Next, I took the shroud off the new extruder because I was very curious why the color was black on the new circuit board. When looking at the new board, there isn't anything noticeably different. Since there wasn't really any big difference between the two boards, I just left the black one attached to the new extruder. Next, it was time to actually mount the extruder. This was a very simple process. It only took 3 screws. However, I do recommend taking the shroud off to gain easier access to the 3 bolts. Now for the wonderful ribbon cables. I peeled off the sticky backing off the Z-axis. It leaves a lot of residue just like every time I do this, and so you just have to scrape it away, use a cleaning wipe to get all that residue off because you want to make sure that it's nice and smooth so the extruder can go back and forth on the Z-axis. If you look at these cables, you're going to notice that one half of them have the sticky tape. That's to actually stick to the rail itself. The other half is so it remains flexible enough to go in the air. Make sure the sticky part goes near the actual ribbon connectors on the circuit board near the axis, not on the extruder itself. And I just went ahead and replaced the other ribbon cable. You need to move the Z-axis up so you have plenty of room to remove the actual cable, however. Same as before, slide it behind the extruder with lots of space. Then go ahead and just plug it in to the top circuit board where the other ribbon cable also attaches. The assembly part was completely over. Easy and painless. I turned on the machine and you could see it starting to boot up. It opened up to the normal screen and was showing the extruder and bed temps. Then I checked to see if the printer can actually heat up. I went straight to 220 degrees Celsius to see if it would heat to that temperature so I could load in some filament. It had been so long since I had used this printer, I forgot about how quickly it heats up. It only took around 1 minute and 6 seconds for this thing to heat up both with its extruder and bed temperature. And there, you can see that it's back up, printing, and doing a great job. Easy fix. So that's that. I'm hoping that this might have helped you if you have issues with your Sidewinder. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And as always, thank you for watching.